Teacher mocks black girl for dreaming of Harvard. Until a Harvard dean walks in asking for her, people used to treat me like I was nothing, a mere whisper in a room full of echoes. In Professor Bennett's classroom, laughter fell like raindrops on a steel roof, harsh and unyielding, as he ridiculed my dream of attending Harvard. "You? Harvard?" he sneered, and the snickers of my classmates stung more than the mockery itself. But beyond that classroom, my world burst with willingness and hard-earned dreams. Backed by my mother, Diana, a nurse whose love and sacrifice were the quiet winds beneath my wings. Fiberglass, the shadows of discrimination chased me. Rebecca Taylor, fueled by entitlement, added poison to the air with her barbed comments. "You think you're special?" she laughed, while my heart tightened, questioning if my aspirations were mere figments of imagination. But my mother's words echoed in my mind, reminders of my father's legacy and the worth that resided in me. I learned to wear resilience like armor. Marcus Chun handed me a book about Harvard one afternoon, the kind gesture igniting a flicker of hope. Yet as I confronted Bennett over unjust grading, tensions escalated, turning the classroom into a battlefield. Rumors spread like wildfire, accusations of cheating were hurled my way, and the principal's office became my unintended stage of defense. Then, as I faced my accusers, Dr. Eleanor Wright walked in, her presence radiating authority. She didn't just vindicate me, she unveiled the truth buried beneath layers of prejudice, challenging Bennett and shattering Rebecca's facade. With my integrity recognized, I transformed from an underestimated girl into a Harvard finalist, the underdog who found her roar. In the aftermath, I stood tall, awarded the H. Worth Prize, my achievement echoing not just for me, but for all who had ever been silenced. My story shifted narratives and the message was clear. Our dreams deserve to soar, no matter the naysayers. As I reflect on my journey, I urge everyone facing ridicule to hold their heads high, embrace their potential, and dare to dream boldly. Teacher mocks black girl for dreaming of Harvard, until a Harvard dean walks in asking for her. "Zoe, do you seriously think you'll get into Harvard?" Professor Bennett sneered, arms crossed. The class erupted in laughter, but it felt like knives piercing Zoe's heart. "Wilmington, why not? Aren't dreams for everyone?" Zoe retorted, her voice shaking with defiance. "Dreams don't pay tuition, sweetheart," he shot back, leaning closer, his condescension heavy in the air. "Maybe stick to practical goals, like community college." Zoe's face burned. She glanced around. Rebecca Taylor practically snorted, arms draped over a desk, a smirk glued to her face. "Got your sights set a little high, don't you, Zoe? Keep dreaming." "Granddaughter Rebecca," Marcus muttered, tossing a sympathetic glance at Zoe. "You're better than this." "Better? Look at her," Rebecca scoffed. "She'll be lucky to graduate. I can't believe you'd even think of Harvard." Room, alone in her of her father, the graduate cap perched jauntily on his head. "Mom, what if they're right?" she whispered, tears spilling. "Don't you dare let anyone tell you you're worth so," Diana replied fiercely. "You have the same fire he had. Fight for your dreams." The principal's office loomed, and with it, dread twisted in Zoe's gut as Professor Bennett's voice rang in her ears. "You have no business being here." But then the door swung open, and Dr. Eleanor Wright stepped in, radiating authority. "What's this I hear about an accusation?" Bennett shifted uncomfortably. "Zoe has been—" "Let me see proof of that," she interrupted, her eyes narrowing. Position straightened, heart racing. "They're lying. I didn't cheat, and I deserve to be here." With Dr. Wright on her side, Zoe felt a resurgence of strength wash over her, igniting the hope that refused to dim. Zoe sat at the back of the classroom, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, listening to Professor Bennett's mocking laughter echo off the walls. "Harvard, please, Zoe, aim a little lower, maybe a community college if you're lucky." The snickers from her classmates felt like daggers, sinking deeper with each jab. Her dreams of prestigious institutions felt absurdly far away, a cruel joke brought to life by the very person meant to guide her. As tears threatened to spill, she thought of her mother, Diana, who worked double shifts as a nurse, her tired smile a beacon of strength. You can do anything if you put your mind to it, her mother had said. Yet those words felt heavy, weighted down by the oppressive atmosphere that surrounded Zoe. Take each day, she returned home, burying her emotions beneath her books. But the frustration simmered just below the surface. Even as Marcus gifted her a book about Harvard, the joy was short-lived, a mere flicker in a sea of darkness. Confrontations with Professor Bennett only deepened the confines of his disdain for her. But it was the principal's office that sent her spiraling. The air thick with tension, Zoe stood tall against Rebecca's accusations, her voice steady. Professor Bennett's eyes knitted with disdain. Yet, just as Zoe reached her boiling point, Dr. Eleanor Wright walked in, her aura commanding immediate respect. The room shifted, hope infiltrated the despair. Zoe felt a spark ignite within her, ready to challenge the unjust confines built around her. They underestimated her resilience. She would no longer stand quietly. Transformation was just on the horizon, and with it, the weight of societal prejudice was about to shift. Tazo stood tall against the backdrop of the principal's office, heart racing yet resolute. "I didn't cheat, and I won't let you silence my dreams," she declared, her voice steady despite the weight of the accusations. Professor Bennett shifted uncomfortably, his arrogance blunted by the presence of Dr. Eleanor Wright. "Let's clarify the facts, shall we?" Dr. Wright interjected, her tone commanding but compassionate. "Zoe has shown remarkable dedication, and her father's legacy is not just a story, it's a testament to her strength." "I'm not just a stereotype," Zoe murmured, her confidence blossoming. "I'm a finalist for Harvard." The room fell silent, the gravity of her words sinking in. Zoe gripped the edge of the desk, taking a deep breath. "You may not believe in me, but I believe in myself." Position began unraveling the web of deceit spun by Rebecca. Zoe felt a flicker of triumph. Each word from Dr. Wright echoed Zoe's hidden resolve. "You have a choice, Zoe, to let their words define you or to rise above them." Moments later, when Dr. Wright confronted Bennett about his bias, Zoe detected a shift. The laughter and whispers once directed at her now targeted him. With a slight nod from the dean, Zoe felt the final pieces falling into place. "I'll take that Hurwitz Prize," she said, lips curving into a quiet smile. Blazing sheen of her worth washed over her. In that moment, a new chapter began, not just for her but for everyone who dared to dream in the shadow of doubt. Zoe Daniels stood by the classroom door, heart racing, as she faced the condescending gaze of Professor Bennett. "Harvard?" he sneered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Maybe you should aim lower, Zoe." Laughter erupted, and despite her best efforts, tears pricked her eyes. The mocking stares of her classmates pierced her like arrows, but she remembered her mother's soothing voice. "You carry your father's legacy? Never let anyone dim your light." A week slipped by. Professor Bennett's bias turned toxic. He favored Rebecca Taylor, privileged and polished, awarding her grades that Zoe knew were undeserved. Whispers filled the hall, with Rebecca casting shadows of accusations about cheating, urging faculty to question Zoe's integrity. Today was different. Today, that insidious web unraveled. The principal's office felt like a cage as Zoe defended her character against Rebecca's outright lies, the weight of injustice heavy on her shoulders. Fear poked at her resolve. But then the door swung open and Dr. Eleanor Wright stepped in. Grace nor authority wasted in her stride. She surveyed the scene, eyebrows knitting in disbelief. "What's happening here?" Zoe's simmering determination surged as she recounted her story, her academic achievements spilling forth like a beacon of truth. Dr. Wright nodded, her eyes narrowing at Bennett, who shifted uncomfortably, the disapproval palpable. The air crackled with anticipation as Dr. Wright unveiled the fabricated evidence against Zoe, blowing away the smokescreen of prejudice. Each word she spoke was a nail in Bennett's coffin, his credibility slinking into shadows. Weeks later, with the Hurwitz Prize clutched in her hands, Zoe scanned the auditorium. The applause was thunderous yet silent in her heart. Unmatched joy filled her as she spotted Dr. Wright, pride painted across her face. Classmates once hostile now regarded her with admiration, their previous laughter replaced with respect. Across the room, Professor Bennett's embarrassment was palpable. A king stripped of his crown, whispers of his favoritism flooding the air. Rebecca stood aside, remorse shadowing her features, the weight of her actions evident. Zoe's triumph wasn't about revenge. It was about a shift, a clearing for those who dared to dream. Crown laws merged with a roaring tide within Zoe. She raised her head high, smiling, not just at the accolade in her hands, but at the truth she had reclaimed, ready to illuminate the paths for others to follow. In the quiet moments following my confrontation with Professor Bennett, I often find myself reflecting on the path I traveled. The laughter of classmates faded, replaced by the resolute voice of Dr. Wright, who championed my worth and revealed the truth behind the accusations. I never imagined I would rise from that harrowing moment to find myself at the cusp of my dreams, being recognized not for my skin, but for my resolve and achievements. Through the trials of ridicule and prejudice, I learned that strength is not just in defiance, but also in embracing who you are, unapologetically. I carry my father's legacy, my mother's sacrifices, and the kindness of a few who believed in my potential amid the doubts. It's a transformative experience. I emerged not just as Zoe, but as an advocate for change. Take as I stand here today, I wonder, was my response too far? Would you have dared to stand up, knowing the risks? Have you ever felt the weight of someone else's bias against your dreams? I invite you to share your thoughts, your stories. Let's converse about justice, power, and the resilience we all hold within.